and welcome to the BeanScene Podcast. This is the place where we aim to give baristas and cafe owners the tools to help refine their crafts and help their businesses thrive. My name is Dan Woods, journalist on BeanScene magazine, and today we are looking at one of the most recent trends that is reshaping cafe menus across the world. From Mont Blancs to matcha, the signature drink space has boomed in Australia over the past few years, and it only continues to gain momentum. Today, I'm speaking to 2025 Australian Bartender of the Year and Food and Beverage Director of Jackalope Hotels, Tanguy Charbonnet, about how to take a signature brew from concept to fan favourite. Welcome, Tanguy, and thank you for speaking to us today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Now, it seems like the lines between barista and bartender are continuing to blur, and the space between the two, especially from a creative standpoint, are really becoming closer. And we see that in coffee competitions, coffee and good spirits, all that sort of competitions. Now, as someone who's deeply embedded in the bartending space, in the F&B space, have you seen this sort of shift happening? Have you seen baristas really tapping into a new wave and a new age of creativity?
Definitely. I think coffee and tea always been a part of bartending as well, anyway, and we see that growing more and more through the creativity of some bartenders. It's a passion. This is what we're sharing. We have this in common. We're sharing the passion of barista, coffee, tea, but also through bartending. So it's just amazing to see. I like to think of a place in Melbourne, if I may suggest this one. It's a good measure, for example. It's a great example. It's a fantastic bar who's doing a fantastic Mont Blanc, and in the afternoon you can get a fantastic margaritas and other drinks. So that's great to see.
And what is your background in bartending and in hospitality? Obviously, you are a leading voice in the industry, being 2025 Australian Bartender of the Year, and with all that experience that entails. So how did you start in bartending, in hospitality, and figure out that this was the industry that you really wanted to forge a career in?
It was a long time ago now. When I was, I remember a time that I went to a nice bar with my mum, actually, and I looked up at her. I said, I want to be there. I want to be behind the bar. I want to listen to people, because it's a place where you listen a lot to people, you share a lot, and I wanted to do that. I wanted that moment, that story that you're making with your guests, and that was very important for me to do that. And later on, I studied bartending. I fell in love again with the stories of cocktails. I had great mentors, great people to look up, and I grew my passion through this, and it's been more than 20 years. So for me, it's just an amazing journey still. So.
And you mentioned before how coffee and tea have always been really heavily involved in the cocktail space, and I feel like we're seeing that, at least from a cafe perspective, flip a little bit. Now we're seeing alcoholic beverages and mocktails really take off in a whole different variety of settings. But what are some of the classics that you use coffee and tea to make in, I guess, the space that you operate in? And what are some of the more interesting drinks that you've seen recently that might have coffee as an ingredient or star of the show?
Yes. Well, obviously, we're going to probably, we can talk about the espresso martini in Melbourne. But when I first arrived in Melbourne, I was not a coffee drinker. I fell in love with the culture here, and I become addictive to coffee, like many people, I guess. And yes, the espresso martini. But I learned with my first cocktail menu, for example, to associate the spirit with the tea. I'm a huge fan of jasmine tea, and I started to just blend this with a gin, creating a gimlet out of it, and it became the signature for the past 7 years at Jackalope. So it's just amazing to see how the tea develop through the cocktail and brings so much flavor and balance everything out. So it's a great inspiration again.
And in coffee, I mean, we love our competitions. World Barista Champion is currently Jack Simpson of Actual Coffee Roasters, and Australia's had a significant history in World Barista Championships, Latte Art Championships, Cup Taster Championships, Brewing Cups, all of the above. And the Australian Bartending Championship is within that competition realm as well. So can you just tell me how that competition works and what led you to being named the Bartender of the Year?
Yes, it's a competition that is every year in September in Sydney, organized by another magazine, a bartending magazine, the Australian Bartender. And basically, yes, it's a big competition with a questionnaire, 80 questions that we had to answer, followed by a classic cocktail showcasing the knowledge of classics, and finishing with signatures, creativity through 2 different drinks for my case. And I've been very lucky to win that day. It was the first time that I was competing for this event, and I got it the first time, so I'm very happy, very blessed. So competition, it's such an amazing recognition. You're awarded like this. I can understand why it's got so much effect as well in barista and coffee. It's especially for baristas, there's so much, when I see them working with the coffees, be able to differentiate all the aspects of flavors through the coffees. I'm just amazed. And that's what I was talking before, the passion. We can feel that passion through those competitions. We can show that, working in the beverage industry, it's personal.
It is. I mean, you are correct. These competitions are such an incredible way to see the passion that people have for their craft, because it's certainly, I'm sure, not an easy thing to even be eligible to enter, let alone to win.
Yes.
But obviously, signature drinks is why we're here today. It's why we're talking today, and they're becoming so popular in menus. Whether it's the rise of ice drinks, strawberry matcha. There's a lot of energy around ingredients like hojicha and pistachio at the moment.
Yep.
And it seems like the creativity of the cafe owners or the baristas or whoever comes up with these incredible concoctions, creativity is the only limit for what can actually be done. So from your perspective, when you start coming up with an idea for a drink or a concept for a drink, what goes into finding the inspiration to potentially try something new, trying to bring it to life, and then getting it to a position where you're comfortable that it's going to be enjoyed by everyone who drinks it?
I think it's the curiosity. You see, you were talking about hojicha. I'm sorry, it's the French accent. But I read, seen that I was on social media, saw it through a cocktail once, and I was just like, oh, what's that? I didn't know about it. And I started to look for it. And after I was just like taking that element, thinking, okay, I can work with that element. I got inspired by someone with it, but how I can do it myself differently and what I can do with it. It's the curiosity. We need to try to test the ingredients and to see what we can come up with it. I was talking about some mentors and people that I look up in my bartending years, and I always get inspired by the others. It's a beautiful community when it comes to bartending, but I believe that barista is the same. So it's important to look at it if you want to be part of a community, looking at what everyone's doing, put the ego aside sometimes, and just getting looking at ideas, new developments. So it's a growth for everyone, I guess.
Well, I mean, you are correct in saying that the barista community and the coffee community is incredibly closely knit and incredibly powerful, much like the bartending community. I mean, how much of an asset is it to be able to lean on that community to help you come up with signature drinks and help you see what's out there? And again, I keep going back to saying try something new, but that is where we're at the moment in this cafe signature drink space. There's so many new things. So how incredible is it to be able to have that community to fall back on to help you develop what is in your head and turn it into something that you can place on a bar?
Yeah, that's a very good question. It's again, I don't know. It's going to cafes, speak with the people there, take the time to look at the menu, at the ingredients, And yeah, it's also I often say that it's also a part of your own growth to read, to look for recipes and develop this yourself, I guess. And that's what I do when I look at something that interests me. I'm trying to read a bit more and to understand a bit more what the ingredient will be, what the test will be. And yeah, I like when it comes to bar. I like to go to bars, so I'm just going to the new cocktail bar that's going to open. Try to speak with the person in charge, the bartender behind, and try to understand how he developed that drink. And again, back at Jackalope or any other venues, I'm going to try to tweak the ingredient myself and to do something different from my own inspiration, I guess.
You were talking about your love of jasmine tea as an ingredient, and we are seeing the tea space within the cafe community evolve as well. We're seeing a shift towards consumers, especially younger consumers, moving away from traditional hot espresso drinks and maybe looking for something that is iced in the afternoon. And there's a lot of love for all types of tea in the coffee community at the moment. But in terms of coffee and picking ingredients and finding ingredients that blend well with the flavors of coffee, what is some of your favorites?
For coffee, yes, it's a bit different. I probably, to be honest, I probably still need to improve that. It's in France it's easier because we having like just like the espresso, just the time of the espresso, and we just focus on the taste and the provenance of the coffee itself. I think in Melbourne it's a bit harder for me because I like to have my latte or my chai latte, and the spikes probably take over for my dirty chai, the coffee beans and the expression of the beans. So yeah, yeah, I would say again, we need just to be curious. But it's
Yeah. I mean,
that was a tricky one.
well, I mean, people say curiosity killed the cat, but that's not the way it seems like in the bartending and barista scene, which is incredible. And I mentioned hojicha and pistachio before as ingredients that have a lot of love and a lot of hype around them at the moment. Everyone's looking for what could be the next matcha, and whether anything will usurp matcha, who knows? But I mean, that's just a trend that keeps on keeping on. What are you seeing as ingredients that are starting to really come to the fore and people are experimenting and being curious about now that they may not have been a few years ago?
But matcha, hojicha are the ingredients that right now we see coming through cafes, but in the bars as well. There's a lot of drinks, cocktails and mocktails made with matcha now. It's a very earthy and interesting taste to work with actually, and yeah, it's quite bright as well in some ways. So it's very interesting to work with. I know that at Jackalope we're doing like a mocktail with a bit of coconut water and coconut oil as well. A few different techniques, but we have a mocktail like this. We just keep that beautiful earthiness with a bit of freshness, and it just developed perfectly. Yeah. And I remember as well a couple of days ago with my wife when she saw like a strawberry matcha and in a cafe, and she was just like, "Wow, everybody's doing that now. I want one." Yeah, it's that's the new trend, and trends just come in circles. What I like about matcha when it's really well made is just the service of the matcha. That's also a big part of it. I think it's amazing the culture that is behind. Again, you just need to be curious and to look at what people are doing. The service of matcha is just amazing.
Well, what I love about the service of matcha is the theatre that goes behind it. When baristas and anyone who's making a drink with it is using the proper matcha powder and mixing it and blooming it and everything, it just adds a whole new dimension to the experience as a customer, as a consumer. I mean, obviously theatre is incredibly important in the bartending space as well, but how critical do you think theatre is in creating a more well-rounded customer experience in the bartending space and in the cafe space for people who are willing to potentially spend a little bit of extra money and get a really nice cocktail or a really nice signature drink, as opposed to I'll just have a wine or I'll just have an espresso.
Yeah, it's not it's exactly this. It's not only about the drinks itself, what you're drinking. It's about the theoretical. Oh, sorry for that word again. This one is very hard for a French person to say. The theoretical aspect of it, but it brings the interaction between the barista or the bartender and the guests. It's a moment, a unique moment that you're going to spend with the creator of the drink. A moment that's a moment of passion. Of patience as well, because when you're making matcha, I think you need to be patient, and it's a part of that experience. But yeah, it's unique to have. It's unique to have, especially when you have someone who just are so pleased to talk about something that he loves, and yeah, I will be happy to pay a bit more. For a matcha experience or for a good bartending experience, when I know that I will have a one-on-one like this with someone who's just gonna give me some love, I would say, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And I mean, we're seeing in the cafe space, as I guess the cost of living becomes a little bit more difficult, that people are looking for that extra, almost micro hospitality of that one-on-one time, that little bit of love, that little bit of education sometimes. And I'm sure it is probably similar in the bartending space as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's in bartending, it can be yes, the cost of living and everything has been increasing, but there's still like a good support, I think, and hospitality will last forever. I'm not too concerned. The very important thing that we need to keep doing is just like giving our best to our guests for a unique experience. In a cafe, I like to just having a word with a barista. It's just a pleasure. Just having just a nice, good way to start the morning, and a good way to finish the night with a bartender, I guess.
Now, the coffee industry is obsessed with quality, specialty coffee, high-graded coffees. We saw late last year at a coffee auction, a lot of coffee sell for in excess of $30,000 a kilogram, because it was, in essence, likely the best coffee ever.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that pursuit of quality ingredients, it goes through all of hospitality, whether you're a barista, whether you are a tea specialist, a bartender, whether you're a chef, whatever you are, that pursuit of quality is what keeps people coming back. From your perspective, from your position, how important is it to be able to have access to the highest quality ingredients possible to then create the best quality product possible?
Yeah, it's again, we were talking about the guest experience. You go through that moment of interaction. You go through that moment of having like very good produce. It has to be fresh. It has to be seasonal. It has to be it's again, it's not only the bartender or the barista. It's everything that is surrounded. It's everything that's surrounded. And yeah, sometimes you have to pay a bit of a price. When it comes to bartending, or even in the food element, you're trying to be sustainable, to reuse everything that you can. And you got a drink, for example, where I'm working around the peach during the past season, because peaches are not really in season anymore. But you take the peach, you take the full flesh, you take the stone fruit itself, the kernel, and you rework everything around this. But yeah, it's a way to be sustainable, but to avoid more cost as well. It's cost effective, and I think when you see like a coffee, a good roastering coffee that you want to bring it on, you just need to make sure that when you're doing your coffee, when you're a barista, you put the right amount into your coffee machine. I was with T2 and they're keeping the leaves after brew. There's so many things that you can do to remain sustainable, to keep quality, and to be cost effective. It's a part of the new industry that you are in this hospitality world. You just need to make sure that you're able to be smart,
And it's funny, I was going to mention that work that you are doing with T2, just in the realm of, I guess, the influence that tea might have in this signature drink and cocktail mocktail space, and ways that cafe owners could think of incorporating tea into their menus outside of just matcha based drinks, because there is more to cafes than coffee. Obviously coffee is a big part of it, but like I mentioned before, we are seeing a little bit of a shift, especially in the afternoon segment, of people wanting lower caffeinated beverages, decaffeinated beverages, and this seems to be where tea can really be a quick win for cafes.
It's the teas. To be honest, in bartending, we're using tea for quite a long time through different drinks. If you're thinking just as a simple iced tea, but a cold brew tea bring tonicity, structure, and a bit of a depth and complexity to a cold drink. Doesn't have to be a cocktail; it can be a mocktail. And in cafes, I think they can definitely work around this. It's a great opportunity to develop drinks with just like a few juice, for example, and adding just a bit of a cold brew into it, and a bit of syrup, of course, for the sweet tooth. That's one form that you can work on. You can also, what I'm going to present today is a fizz, just force carbonated, a cold brew as well, to make it a bit fizzy, and transform the tea differently. And you can infuse the tea again. One of the cocktail that I will present today, it's a mocktail with apple infused, with jasmine tea from T2, the Buta teas, and just easy to drink. A bit of lime cordial, quite fresh, and a bit tart, but just splendid. So that's a good way to work with teas that I would advise maybe coffees to use. Not that I'm gonna force anyone, but you guys do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it does sound incredible, and I feel like coffee can have quite as an ingredient, coffee can have quite an overwhelming flavor, which obviously can be put to incredible good use in things like espresso martinis and other signature drinks. But there's certainly so much space for creativity around other drinks that may be around in cafes, whether it be tea based, whether it be, again, like I said, creativity is the limit.
Even coffee, the coffee in drinks bring a bit of bitterness, such as tea, but probably the coffee is going to be more important in that aspect. And just like there's a great cocktail created by I don't know if I can say his name. I hope that he's not going to be grumpy, but Felix Wood at La Reine Rue, who created back then at Black Pearl a café frappé. It's a cold brew cafe with a bit of amaro. Sorry, I need to remember the recipe. A bit of amaro and a bit of mint as well, crème de mint. It's a beautiful drink. We're still on the line with the espresso martini, but something a bit more refreshing, a bit more developed, and way more interesting. I think I like to suggest that to my guests when they ask me for an espresso martini. I told them go for a café frappé. It's better.
If you had one final insight or one nugget of wisdom to give baristas or cafe owners that have been thinking about taking the leap and crafting their own signature drinks or mocktails, but might be intimidated by the space, what would it be?
Again, just be curious and try. Don't be scared to try. I think that's something in any occasion that you need to think. Don't be scared to try and just jump and try your own recipe. You can't make mistakes, especially with all the social medias now. There's a lot of people who share recipes. You can find recipes and just try to recreate them yourself, differently maybe. But yeah, I will advise coffee owners to just try. Don't be scared to try. Yeah, it's not that complicated to make drinks.
Beautiful. I think that's an incredible note to finish on.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for spending a little bit of time with me and with
Pleasure.
us. And I really, really hope our listeners can take a few things out of our conversation then. And listeners, if you do want to stay in touch with the BeanScene Podcast, We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. And don't forget to follow at BeanScene Mag on social media, or catch us every 2 months in print. Thank you.